Hey guys, Craig with Wildland Outdoors here. I'm going to get the camera moved around here and we're going to get back into building on this Emcomm box. We're going to set out the shelves and some metal bracketry to kind of start figuring out where everything needs to go. We're going to get the layout figured out today, and then behind the scenes I'm going to go ahead and start drilling the holes that need to be drilled. And I'll probably get some stuff mounted up, and then the next time I come back we'll have most of the stuff mounted up and we'll start discussing wiring and so forth. So give me 1 minute and I will be right back with you. Alright, so right here we have our front shelves, bottom shelf, top shelf. We're not going to be doing anything with that top shelf today. I still need to get some speakers and stuff for that. So we're going to start off here with this, just trying to figure out where I want my bracketry for my radio. So here we have the 891. Ooh. Looks about right for the 891. And what I'm looking at is these slots. These slots here, I'm just see if I can line this bracket up with, get some holes lined up to where I might be able to mount this without having to drill any holes. That bracket lined up with that slot as close as I can get. Gives me a hole there. Think I'm good. Take my Sharpie and just kind of give myself a couple of witness marks there, so I know where to line that up. Now I still have to take off the mobile mount off my 2900, but I'm gonna have to actually fabricate mounts for this, so that's about where I want it. Give myself a couple witness marks off the body to get that mounted in there later on when I get the brackets made up. That's pretty much all we're worried about right now with the lower side. I can see my witness marks. Now, here's where more effort's going to go in. This here is my rear shelf, and I have a few things here that we need to get sized up. I can run that all the way out like that. So let me put my witness marks here. I'm going to have to make some brackets for my Bioenno power supply here, or my Bioenno charger. It doesn't have any. It's got a couple of screws on the side, which will work for me. I'll mark those holes when I need to, and we'll drill it up, get that Bioenno mounted. So I'll leave that in place. All right. I was going to go ahead and go with the West Mountain Radio Rig Runner, but talking with some of my ham radio friends, I decided to go this way. It's a fuse block, and if you can see, I don't know if you can or not, the LEDs that run down the middle, if you blow a circuit, that LED will light up. So it'll give you an idea of exactly which circuit's blown. I do plan on getting a West Mountain Radio Epic Power Gate. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to put this in here. I don't quite know the dimensions of that power gate, so we may just put that. Yeah, I could probably route that just like that. Power gate here. Then we'll have power from power supply goes into the power gate. My solar plug would go into the power gate. From the battery, which would be this area over here, into the power gate, and then out to where I'd run over to my positive and my negative terminals. And then I'd have a negative block, negative bus here, and then all my fused circuits. I think that'll work. I'd prefer it rotated more, but I just don't know. Until I have that power gate, I don't know size-wise if we'll have space for it. I mean, unless I scoot, I could scoot that power supply or that charger all the way over, and then that'd give me a decent amount of space there. Or over here if I want to put the power gate there, and then all that for the battery. Oh, why don't you guys comment below? Let me know what you think. Do you think it looks better with the fuse block against the back like that? I mean, I'll be able to run power straight out the back for my radios and some of the other stuff, and then I can just pull power, curl it up, no problem. Or do you think I should mount it more in line like this with the power gate over here? Just give me some thoughts. I mean, this is kind of all we're doing is trying to figure out layouts on stuff. I don't think I have anything else. I bought a 40 amp circuit breaker. This will more than likely, I gotta read the specs on the power gate. I may not need this. But this will go between the battery and then all the power. So everything will feed through this unless that power gate will handle it. So kind of got to see on that one. But I think we have the layout. Like I said, once we figure out where that fuse block goes, I'll look up the dimensions and play with it some more when I have the dimensions of the Epic Power Gate. But I think this layout would be good. I think this one would be good as well. I mean, it's back. It's high enough that it clears this back lip, so all the power cables would come in no problem. So it's just going to be kind of one of those. We'll see what comes in. Now here, This next part is the biggest part that I wanted to get looked at today, and I'm going to apologize now. It's probably not going to be the easiest to film. So I have 2 pieces of aluminum flat stock, 2 inches, 1.5 inches. These are going to be used across the top and the front and across the top and the back. Across the top of the front, it's going to hold my push button switch and my USB ports, which will obviously give me space for anything else. Across the back, it's going to hold my SO239 barrel connectors, and then I have some PowerWorks power pole mounts. So what I'm going to do first, and again, this is where I'm going to apologize because I don't know how well this is going to turn out on camera, is I have to try to lay these across the front like so, and then try to come in from the back side so I can mark my holes here and here, and then give myself a line so that we can work on planning off my where we're going to put everything. So try to bear with me while I do this. Like I said, it's probably not going to be the greatest film job here, but so as you can see there, that shows me where I got to drill my holes. I can drill 2 or 3 holes for mounting, and then that line gives me the edge of that rail. And I do have it on both ends so that I can measure from one side or the other so I can get that marked out properly. Alright, let's do the other one now. Comes the dog, so don't be surprised if the dog ends up jumping in on this. Okay, now let's start looking at components. So for my USB port, it's 2 USB fast charge ports with a little digital voltmeter in the middle. I know that's 1 1/8 inches, but I'm going to measure across the top here with my calipers so that I can measure, get the exact size that I need for marking my hole. Alright, so the top of this is about 1.45 inches. And then my switch. Now, this switch here, momentary, or it's a single pole on and off. The white ring lights up red, so let me know everything's got power. For this one, I'm more worried about the nut that goes around it, so but I can use that nut to kind of figure out where I want this laid out. Thinking about right there for that. And then, so 1.45 inches, so 1.5 inches, so roughly need about a little shy of 3/4 of an inch. Thinking so what I'm thinking is that circle, we'll drill that out for the switch. That cross, I'll drill that out for my... Alright guys, sorry I have to cut this in. My memory in my camera got full. I didn't quite realize that I could fill 96 gigs that quick. So what I was saying is with this piece, this is going to be a front crossbar. It's going to go across front. The circle here will be for my on-off switch that will kill the power to the battery. The cross is going to be where I'm going to mount my dual USB port. It's two USB 3.0 high-speed USB ports with a small voltmeter on it. And then somewhere in the middle here, once I figure it out, I'm going to have a meter that's going to at least tell me what my remaining battery power is. I might get one that's going to tell me how many amp hours and so forth that I've used, but that space is kind of reserved until I get it. And the second piece here, this is for the back panel. We're going to have an SO239 barrel connector on both ends. One for my UHF or my VHF radio, one for my HF radio. And then these two holes right here will be for power pole connectors. One will be for a two port additional power, so I'll have two sets of power poles on it for if I need to help somebody out with some power or whatnot. And then the other one, it will be for, it's a single power pole connection, and that one will be for running solar. That way I can run solar in, and then it'll go down to the Epic Power Gate when I get it. And then that Epic Power Gate will handle all of my power on what's running what's charging, etc. So once I get all this stuff drilled, sanded, painted, and whatnot, that's we'll go from there. So again, front panel, power switch, USBs, eventual battery monitor, back panel, SO239s, and then double power pole, single power pole for solar. My solar inputs will go straight down to the Epic Power Gate, which will then also have that charger going into the Epic Power Gate. The battery will connect into the Epic Power Gate, and then I'll get that power out of the Epic Power Gate running to my fuse block. Then from my fuse block, I'll have two circuits that'll go up to those additional power poles on the back. Probably, I think 25, 30 amp circuits, probably 25 amp circuits. That's what my 891 runs, and that's what the 2900 should be using as well. So that'll give me two 25 amp outputs on the back for additional radio equipment if I need it, or if I need to power anything else off power poles. I do have some more pieces coming. I have a 12 volt charger for my Surface Pro 9. That one will, I'm gonna play with it. I have to cut off the cigarette lighter. It should work being plugged straight into 12 volts, so we're gonna try that and make sure it charges. As long as it charges, that'll get wired in as one of the circuits as well off that fuse block, so that I have the ability to charge my Surface when I need to. I mean, I could always just add a cigarette lighter plug on the back, but I don't really have any other use for it, so I was just planning on hardwiring it. So that's coming in. I gotta wait for the power gates to become available, but I am gonna look up the sizes and go back through and try to get a definitive way I'm gonna mount those. The other thing I need to do is I have to dig out my digi-rig, and then I'll put the radios back in where I think the radios are gonna go, and make sure that I'm gonna have plenty of room to strap my digi-rigs down, because I'm gonna have a digi-rig ran off my 891 and off of that 2900, so that I can do WinLink with Vera FM or Vera HF and other digital modes as needed as well. Again, it is an Emcomm box. My goal is to be able to do whatever I need to do whenever I need to do it. That means no power. It'll have a battery in it. I'm looking at probably a 50 amp hour, and I'll be able to run digital modes just fine with it. If I want to take it out to a park for a POTA activation, I'll be able to go do a POTA activation. You know, I'm looking at getting started with Aries. Hey, if I get called out on an Aries activation, I'll just be able to grab my box. I'm going to get an antenna bag together with some antennas in it, get set up, go, and be able to run FM digital or FM voice and or 2 meter voice, and then HF all the way across the board, along with running HF digital, the USB ports on the front, my Yaesu VX6R HT, my handy talkie. I do have the USB charger for that. That's why I put the USB ports in, so I can charge my phone and make sure that my HT stays charged as well if I'm using that 2900 for digital modes or whatnot. I could even use that HT for digital if I needed to. So, but that's pretty much the end of this video. I know it wasn't the greatest video. It was just kind of laying things out, seeing what, you know, what's going to go where, so I can go through. I thought about drilling all the holes and stuff, but I didn't figure you guys wanted to sit there and, you know, cutscene, just so that you could try to watch me drill some holes. I mean, you pretty much have seen where everything's going to get laid out. The power supply is going on the right side in the back. I just got to figure out the power gate and that fuse block. Once that's figured out, I'll drill all those. But like I said, the next time you guys see this project, I should have the power supply mounted, my front and back flat stock drilled, sanded, painted, and mounted with all the appropriate connectors mounted as well. And then the radios should be mounted. Well, the 891 will be mounted. I got to figure out whether I can find a mobile mount for the 2900 or if I'm just going to take some leftover 2-inch flat stock and just make a couple of L brackets to mount it in there. But at least one, if not both of the radios should be mounted as well. And then we'll kind of go from there. You know, I'll go in and I've got a 20 amp hour battery. But in that next video, we're going to look at a majority of the wiring off that fuse box, running the radios, USB power poles, and getting all that stuff wired up. I still need to get some speakers. If any of you guys got some advice on some external speakers, I'm torn between some cheaper ones and then some noise canceling speakers that'll automatically give me some digital noise reduction. I had some people to talk to on that. If you guys have any suggestions, please put them down below. I mean, I could use any suggestions on that. But once I get those speakers in, I'll have power for the speakers ran. And then once I get everything mounted in there and wired up the way I want it, I have to look and see what I have for space. I'm thinking about putting 220 millimeter 12 volt fans, one on each side, to draw air through that box, since whenever I use it, I'll have both covers off. So if my radios start to get a little bit warm, I can go ahead and either have it set with a thermostat, if you will, or maybe just an on-off switch to where I can turn them on and have them just start drawing air through to help cool stuff down. But like I said, next time you guys see this project, we'll be getting ready to talk about wiring, and it may even get into excuse me. We'll get into the wiring, and we'll actually start getting stuff wired up. Absolutely. We'll get power poles wired up. If my radios are mounted, the radios will get mounted, or will get wired up. USB will get wired up. So we'll start getting the wiring done. And then, like I said, I'm still waiting on speakers, the Epic Power Gate. And then I got to get a new battery, but I may temporarily just mount my 20 amp hour in there and then decide. I do have a 80 amp relay that I bought specifically. My thought was to run that, so that switch can turn that relay on and off, which will stop power flow from the battery out to everything and stop flow from everything in. So when I pack up and shut down, I don't have to worry about that battery being connected. I like that idea. So that'll probably get done, but I don't know how I'm going to mount that relay yet, because obviously if I'm going to get a different battery, trying to find a way to mount it now is going to be a little challenging. I mean, I could hang it off of one of the upper shelves, but we'll look at it. That's on its way as well. Actually, I think that's in the shop. I just forgot to grab it. But we'll look at it when we get into wiring, because I like the idea. My plan is to be able to turn it on and off. And again, next time I come back, you guys will know more of a permanent layout, because I'll have everything mounted. And then I'll let you guys know what I found out about that power gate, if I'm going to run that circuit breaker or not. So, thanks for watching. I know it wasn't the greatest video, but I'm trying to bring you guys along on my journey of building this Emcomm box. And from me to you guys, always train with what you got.